Have you ever wondered where most of the wood used for furniture and construction work in Nigeria comes from? Welcome to Okobaba, an impoverished community which boasts of the biggest wood market in West Africa. Okobaba is located right in the heart of Lagos. If you have ever taken the popular Third Mainland bridge on your way to the island, you would have noticed a wooden community creeping into the Lagos Lagoon.
Hello, my name is Imiolu Odekunle, and I am passionate about social development and transformation in Nigeria. Particularly, I'm focused on harnessing media as a tool for achieving this transformation. So let me give a little background story about this documentary you're watching. In the last quarter of 2018, during the Lagos election primaries, there were spate of violence recorded across polling units in Lagos. These spates of violence were often led by youths who were loyal to a benefactor, or otherwise known as a godfather. Now to a personal experience that I had. During that period, I was at a federal medical center somewhere in Lagos, and all of a sudden, we heard this commotion outside around the emergency unit area. So I went out and we discovered that they had rushed 3 young guys to the hospital. Apparently, they were part of the political thugs that have been employed to enforce the will of one of these benefactors, and they are resorted to using machetes on each other. And so they had sustained very deep cuts and were bleeding profusely. As a matter of fact, one of them had died on the way to the hospital. And sadly, the other two also didn't make it. Coincidentally, during that period, I had been taking a study on intercultural communications, and I just learned that very day about in-groups and out-groups. On a regular day, I would have jumped to conclusions, thinking that they had made bad choices in life, they had poor characters, and so many other things I could have judged their character without even knowing. But I began to think about them as outgroups in the society, and how they've been labeled a certain name. We call them Agberos, we call them thugs, we call them so many different names. Sometimes a part of society can be labeled something and they take that label as who they are, and they have no choice but to live out that life. It's kind of like a self-fulfilling prophecy. Back to my story, I began to wonder, could these youths have been victims of a falsehood peddled by a politician? So I started researching, and guess what I found? I found a ton load of research about political thuggery as a career path. This is commonly found in continents like Asia and Africa, where politicians have been found to capitalize on socially vulnerable youths to achieve their selfish political ambitions. Ultimately, the more vulnerable a community is, the easier it is to set up such systems that exploit unguided and misguided youths. Along with a couple of friends and volunteers, we decided to conduct a small study in a vulnerable community in Lagos Mainland. If you are familiar with the Third Mainland Bridge, then you will have noticed a wooden community that is stretching into the Lagos Lagoon. That's Okobaba. I often think of Okobaba as a modern-day oxymoron. Why? Because we found out that on a daily basis, transactions worth hundreds of thousands to millions of naira are conducted daily in Okobaba, and yet its inhabitants are found to be extremely poor. We used questionnaires as well as video interviews in conducting this study. We wanted to find out, first of all, what their greatest problems were, secondly, what their dreams and aspirations were, and finally, their level of education. I hope you enjoyed this documentary and listening to their stories. Our hope is that with this documentary, we can begin to open conversations that help bridge the gap and provide understanding for people who are known as outgroups in our society and who are more or less misunderstood.
ọmọdé kejì ni iṣẹ́ ọba náà ni mò ń ṣe, iṣẹ́ tímbà mò ń ṣe.
Orúkọ mi ni Ahmed Olú Adámilárè. Mo wá láti Ọ̀ṣun State Ìwó. So mo ń ṣiṣẹ́ ní sawmill ní báyìí. Mo kọ́ṣẹ́ ọwọ́, mo gba ìbọn, mo ti ṣe freedom. Like in the partition, anything about aluminium and glass.
Aloma Aquara from Abia State. I go to him, but sometimes
I have no money to do the way. That's why I can't join the wood work. I don't pass more than 2 years for this place. No people are people. I come here to do my job. I cannot see money to do job. That's why I enter the place. To say that I'm going to furniture. The chair, doors, then I'm into bed, sir. Wardrobe. I go to much soon, I don't go too much. I stop about 4. By my 4. I have no money. My mom is going for a small child. My father is to have almost 7 wives. For my own mother, for man, I'm number 6. For my father's side, we go to the man, I'm number 4. Tí mo wà ní kékeré, mo máa ń always gbàdúrà sọ́lọ́run wípé Ọlọ́run bless mi wípé mo fẹ́ lọ school, mo máa dẹ̀ ti kúrò school bóyá mo lè join sójà, but along the way bóyá nǹkan ṣe rí náà a sì dúpẹ́ fọ́lọ́run náà. Mo rí anybody tó tẹ̀ lè rí encourage ọ̀ tó lè fi motivate mi ọ̀ ẹni tí mo ṣe tó lè motivate mi lọ sí bẹ́ẹ̀ mo rí fáǹtì màá rí àwọn tó lè motivate mi tó ń motivate mi fáǹtì ẹni kò sí lọ́kọ̀tẹ̀ mi gan náà èmi tó ti gbàgbé ẹ̀. Àkọ́kọ́ náà mo believe wípé nílé ìṣèlú ṣíṣe ní tẹ́lọ́rùn. Mo believe wípé bọ́lá ń ṣe fẹ́ lórí iṣẹ́ yẹn ṣá because kò sẹ́yìn nǹkan tó mọ gbogbo nǹkan tán Ọlọ́run ló mọ nǹkan bọ́lá ń ṣe fẹ́ náà ló jẹ́ ìṣe ìwà yẹn but mo blame ara mi or mo blame Ọlọ́run pé position tí mo wà yìí pé orí tán máa mo ò blame ẹ̀.
Nígbà tí mo pé bí ìwé ìjọba bá wọn kàn pàṣẹ káàkiri lọ́kàn wà láti inú ẹ̀jẹ̀ yìí. Ṣé for example ṣe pé bóyá tí wọ́n dúró sí ọ̀tọ̀ máa mú ìṣòro pẹ̀lú ibi kó máa kàn pọ̀ kó máa kàn pàṣẹ tán ran ẹ mọ̀. Nígbà tí mo ń kéré mo gbọ́kànlé iṣẹ́ rẹ̀ títí kan. Pẹ̀lú wà lọ́kàn pé ìgbà mi ò kéré rẹ̀ mo nígbà tó bí ilẹ̀ wà wíwẹ̀ tó lọ kọ́ iṣẹ́ tó lọ ọ̀dọ̀ lóhùn nìkan. Báyọ̀ pé náà ni mo fi dà àwọn pérẹ́tì tí kò sí bàbà tó pé ọ̀dà mọ́rin mo wà. Ìgbàdo tí jíjẹ mú mi ní ìjọ pé ti wá sí Okobaba ti wá rọ́ọ̀jù tó lè máa fi dà àwọn pérẹ́tì nílé. Ìgbàdo mi ní ìbéèrè Okobaba ni.
When I dey small, when I dey think say wait I go this work when I go dey do. By now, I go sit down for my shop, dey see work, or I go down one place, dey see something, dey see work. But now, you go front, no way. You go back, no way.
But I feel like 8 years in the Okobaba. Ìdí mo kọ́ wù tẹ́lẹ̀, sábà ó jẹ́ ìgbà mo jẹ́ tó kéèkì tó wá pẹ́ látàgbà mi wá gbé òjòrí wúyì mọ́ bí wọ́n fẹ́ pẹ́ tí máa bọ̀ níbi machine tó kọ́ máa jáde pé owó ẹ̀ máa fi pè mí díẹ̀ ní ibi di ìjábọ̀lẹ́ ni machine nígbà mi fọ́ bá wọn ìrọ́ọ̀gì. Ìjọba bá lè ṣe tẹ̀lé ìnáwó tó jáde fún wọn. Tí wọ́n bá wà làánà máa ń bí happy láti gbèrú tó bá síná tẹ̀yẹ̀ wọ́n máa tàn díẹ̀ náà àti fún máa rọ́ọ̀dù sí a lè fi wúwo but náà àṣà àyè mánéjà yìí ń kọ́ntínú náà ní àfi tàbí rí oúnjẹ díẹ̀.
Some people go hand work here, they no get money to start it, they no get money to do anything, nothing they get to do. If you then do small things, then carry go outside, say maybe they take fine money, they no go see the money, then go say some boys don't go. I don't go see, you don't go do this one, waiting for some. They come out for school, you don't see work. You go do work, you don't see where who to buy, you don't see where to sell. Nothing, everybody just something like that. It's not good.
Àwọn owó náà kò tọ́lọ̀ ń ṣàánú ni. Àwọn kan tó ń gbà ó ti pọ̀ jù. For example, sí irú machine wa yìí sí àwọn bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ní lò. Àwọn owó tó máa ń gbà àwọn owó tàbí expect rárá. Bí pé bóyá nǹkan bàjẹ́ inú rẹ̀ lọ rà wá yìí owó ńlá ni.
Dábàá nínú ìṣiṣẹ́ tá a fẹ́ ṣe àìṣiṣẹ́. So mo wò wípé iná ẹ̀dọ̀ ń jẹ́ fọ́ọ̀tì tó jẹ́ kó máa ń pọ̀ ìrònú fún ẹ̀dẹ̀ṣẹ̀. Fún most àwa tá à ń ṣiṣẹ́ níbi ìsọrin machine bí báyìí. And water, omi. Ní kí wọ́n tà ń bí báyìí bóyá omi ta lè máa mú. or tá a lè fi máa rẹ̀ kò sí ní báyìí. Tá a bá fẹ́ níbi omi, a máa ní like a máa ń súnmọ́ òkè tó tóbi ìdí wípé a máa rí omi ká máa lò.
Ìjọba ń tóbi níbi iṣẹ́ yìí náà pọ̀. Iṣẹ́ ọ̀sìn ẹni tó bá ní máa kò lè iṣẹ́ ìbẹ̀rù sí ìtẹ̀wé ìjọba tó bá fẹ́m olùbá àṣìṣe yìí ṣe a máa forí sí ni pé ìjọba ti já sí àwọn máa ṣe náà nìyẹn. Ó ti mẹ́lò yìí tó bá ti ṣiṣẹ́ lórí ẹnìjọ́ mẹ́ta yìí náà àwọn kọ̀ọ̀kan mí ìṣẹ̀lẹ̀ pé iná ó pa bọ̀bọ́kọ̀ náà ṣẹ́ ní machine sí lẹ́gbẹ̀ẹ́ lọ́hùn yẹn ìdí títí àwọn ẹbí kékeré yẹn tó bá sí náà àlè ó gbàǹjẹ jẹ sáà ẹ̀dùn lórí ìyàwó wà lọ́mọ wà lè ọmọ àjẹ tó bá di sí náà bọ̀ náà pé máta yìí kìíní ẹ̀ ti pé yìí ìlú ọ̀la lè ṣe fún mọ́ tí wọ́n máa fún máa ti dé ẹ́ńdìnì bẹ̀rẹ̀ wọ́n mú lọ pé mo ní ọ̀ṣọ́ mi ìjọba tí máa ọ́ sí lọ́dọ̀ tó bàbá gbà.
Irú àwọn tàbí kọ́ wa ń jẹ́ àwọn máa wò wípé nǹkan táwọn gáyé náà ti ṣe àwọn náà wá ń wo àwòkọ́ sí wọn sáà ní oṣù sí mi. Mo ti fọmọ mi sẹ́nu ẹ̀ ó ti ń ṣe lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́ báyìí. Gbogbo nǹkan tí mo ń ṣe yẹn mo ti ń rí láàrẹ̀ pé bíi pé kó mú nǹkan kan kó máa ní kí n lé ń bì yẹn máa sílẹ̀ pé fẹ́lá pé lè fẹ́ mọ́wọ́ dájú ẹ̀ lè. Ṣé ọkàn ti kó wa lọ gan? Bọ̀dọ̀ láà gbogbo ẹ̀ ṣe tó ń rí nìyẹn. Bọ̀tà èmi rí ẹni kan òbí tí bá ti lè kó òbí bẹ́ẹ̀ wá tẹ́lá ìrọ̀kọ̀ sí ọkàn gbòòrò ní ìyá lè máa gbé ámà káàkiri àdúgbò lẹ́yìn bá ti lè kó òbí wá ti lè wórí báyìí gẹ́gẹ́ bí àdéhùn tèmi tèmi máa ń fi sọ́kàn ìfẹ́ wá tẹ́lá.
Mi ò rí ẹsẹ̀ mi bọ̀ tó bá rí ọkọ̀ tó ń sin mi náà àìjí ẹni mo lè ṣe fún ọmọ mi lè ṣe ọ̀tọ̀ ni pé ó di dandan kó kàwé ó máa kàwé ìjọ ṣe ìkọ́ tó ṣe ọ̀fun gangan ni ó máa kọjá yunifásitì mi.
If I get money for hand, I go sick, I go know wetin I go fit handle over. When I handle it, even though na small come out, all of us are using it, everybody are using it, it's okay for them. Like all these youth dey now, if I owe money, I buy it, I sell it.
Rí ọ̀dọ̀ tí wà rẹ̀. Ní àkókò tó bá fi ti wà rẹ̀ pé ọ́dì táwọn pé àjọ ń ṣiṣẹ́ símbà yìí pé wọn lè jẹ́ ọmọ lọ́la. Ìjọba táwọn wà áfà nìyí pé wọn lè jẹ́ ọmọ lọ́la. Níwà pẹ̀lú ìwọ́n tó bá bẹ̀rẹ̀ tó bá ní lébà lóde lọ́la àdì ṣiṣẹ́ ìwọ́n tó bá lè ṣe kẹ́yìn ó kù ìṣẹ̀lẹ̀ rẹ̀ rẹ̀. Bẹ̀rẹ̀ tí má bàa jáde má bàa ṣe dúkòkò ní ṣe ọ́ọ̀dì iṣẹ́ ẹ̀ lọ pé ìmọ̀ ọ́ọ̀dì iṣẹ́ ti máa rí tọ́kọ́ bọ̀ máa jẹ.